Hey, hello there again, folks. We have our week 4 matchup previews for this week. Interesting week. We got some good matchups, some interesting fantasy decisions being made. And we'll start off with Jason, who still has his team name as Go Cubs Go, which kind of makes me think maybe you're a closet Cubs fan. I know you're cheering for us to clinch the division in St. Louis tonight. Appreciate all your love and support, buddy. And he is going up against Joe. What if? So that's literally Joe's team name is What If, by the way. But good news, one of you two turd nuggets is going to stop circling the toilet here. Is actually going to be 2-2 after this week. Neither one of you deserves to be 2-2, but you will be. One of you will be. Jay Cutler in London, Carson Palmer in San Fran. Pretty even matchup considering Cutler's going up against the Saints. Terrell Pryor is absolutely useless at this point, and in a really tough matchup at Kansas City, I don't expect the Redskins to do much of anything on offense whatsoever. Mike Evans is facing Janoris Jenkins, who's been an absolute lockdown corner, but I mean, it's Mike Evans, so that'll be a good battle. Joe Mixon, finally the lead dog, going up against a Cleveland Browns team that I just frankly don't think can stop him. Joe, however, with Todd Gurley, Ty Montgomery, I think they're both going to keep rolling with pretty easy matchups this week. What this matchup's going to come down to is Joe Mixon versus Todd Gurley. Which one of them is going to score the most points? And while I do believe in Mixon quite a bit, I'm going to give the nod to Gurley and Joe for this one. So winner, What If, over Go Cubs Go. Really love the team name, though, Jason. Good stuff. Keep it up. All right. Now, Big Brown and It Hurts versus OJ's Revenge. So we got John versus Chris Mancusi in a battle of the two least active people in our league. Not much to say here, Mancusi. You need a nuclear effort from Beckham and Freeman to stand a chance. Luckily, they're both an easy matchup, so it is possible. John has Kareem Hunt at home against the Redskins, and Kareem Hunt is basically saving John's team every week because he's putting up 25 plus every game. That Seattle defense is worse than you think, though. John's looks like planning on just rolling with them every single week, but they're averaging less than 5 points per game in fantasy. They're just not the same defense that they used to be. But basically, this matchup only comes down to if John's players stay healthy. If John's players stay healthy, he wins. So winner, Big Brown and It Hurts, John. So that is the ruling. So now on to hashtag first round bust versus damaged goods. So we have Reese versus Jared. And this it's an interesting matchup. It really is. And I wouldn't have thought that after the draft. But the real question is, Jared, is he going to start Matt Stafford or Tom Brady? It's such a tough decision. Which one do you go with? Just kidding. Jared's starting Tom Brady this week. Thank God. Don't ever bench him again, you idiot. But you're still trusting 3 Dolphins after last week. And I know that it's an easy matchup with the Saints, but it was also an easy matchup against the Jets. And how did that work out? So it's if they can't get it done against the Saints this week, it's time to just move on from your Dolphins. Wide receivers is running back strategy. Jared's employing Tariq Cohen and Duke Johnson Jr. as his running backs, and that could be all right, actually. It could be better than you think. Neither one of them's going to got nuclear potential, but they could both get double-digit points for sure. Sammy Watkins traded yesterday for Devontae Adams. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Sammy's high risk, high reward kind of guy. So I think Devontae Adams' floor is much higher than Sammy Watkins, but we'll see how it plays out. Michael Crabtree actually could get it done in Denver. I think that's a game they're really going to focus on shutting down Amari Cooper and shutting down Marshawn Lynch. So I actually would not be surprised to see decent numbers out of Michael Crabtree this week. Could definitely be a Deshaun Jackson game with Janoris Jenkins on Mike Evans there against the Giants. Leonard Fournette against the Ravens, but against the Jets, who are basically turned into last week the 2000 Ravens, and just looked dominant on defense all game long until the final play of the game. So Fournette should be able to find more running room though against the Jets, I would imagine. Alshon Jeffrey is borderline unplayable. No wideouts have gone over 85 yards against the Chargers, and it's not going to start with Alshon Jeffrey. So if he doesn't get into the end zone, weak play. This matchup's going to come down to just how crazy Team Bronk goes, and of course by Bronk I mean Brady Gronk. How crazy are they going to go this week? I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm picking Jared to win. This is 2 weeks in a row that I'm picking Team Damaged Goods for the W, and I can't believe it, but he's going to take it down. Jared, congratulations, bud. So on to Bend the Knee versus Cash Me Outside. So you have myself against Steve. I mean, what is there to say about this? This is a monumental mismatch, just an absolute mismatch here. Breeze in London, who just got versus the Dolphins, who just got dismantled by Josh McCown and the Jets. Steve actually pointed something out to me that I didn't realize. So Le'Veon Bell went from 4 points in week 1 to 9 points in week 2 to 15 points in week 3. Do you see a trend here? He's almost doubling his fantasy points every week, so you can expect 30 points from Le'Veon Bell this week. Chris Carson is going to light it up. I expect the Seahawks to get out in front of the Colts early. Chris Carson's going to run. Maybe 25 carries, 150 yards, couple scores. Big game for Chris Carson this week. And, of course, Travis Kelce Monday night against the worst defense against the tight end in all of football, the Washington Redskins. Ought to be big. I will be at that game cheering on my boy Travis Kelce, who you all know I'm a huge fan of. I've said nothing but positive things about Travis Kelce. So love Travis Kelce. Hope he has a big day. And I don't really need to go into much detail about your team. I'm just going to say you literally have Jacquizz Rodgers in your starting lineup. So, I mean, and he's your RB2. So I don't really need to go any further than that. But this matchup will come down to the fact that Steve drafted horribly and has mismanaged his team to this point, highlighted by the Jacquizz Rodgers for DeMarco Murray trade, one of the worst trades in league history. And also, it's not just what you've done, it's what you haven't done. You haven't been able to parlay A.J. Green into multiple players to fill your dumpster fire of a roster, and you haven't been able to move Dez Bryant for anything. So you're kind of stuck here, and the winner, I'm going to win. I mean, so you all know that. I mean, just take a look at these teams. It's completely unfair. So I take home the W, and we'll move on to the highlight game of the week, which is Pack Attack versus Snowflake. So we have the birthday boy, my dad, Tony Sr., versus his eldest son, Tony Jr., in a battle of the T-Dogs. Here we have Russell Wilson to Jimmy Graham after Tony got hustled in a trade with me and gave away Travis Kelce for basically the price of on the house. I don't expect Graham to be that great, but it depends. If Doug Baldwin's in there, Jimmy Graham's going to do well. If Doug Baldwin's out, Jimmy Graham is going to be useless. You saw what happened to that offense when Doug Baldwin went down last week. It's basically the Chris Carson show, and that's what it's going to be if Doug Baldwin's out. Dalvin Cook is your only good running back. That's all there is to it. I can't label LaShawn McCoy a good running back at this point. I just can't. Jordy Nelson, Emmanuel Sanders, both solid wide receiver options. You guys don't need me to tell you that. Although Emmanuel Sanders is tied to Trevor Siemian, who Tony chased the points on last week like a total retard. Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears on Thursday night. That's interesting. We'll see how it goes. Michael Thomas is going to have a big role against the Dolphins in London. I expect Michael Thomas to put up his best game of the season thus far. Tyreek, I don't know that he has that many touches in this game for the Redskins. So one thing I do know is Tyreek's probably going to get a touchdown. I'm going to say Tyreek gets the 60-yard touchdown at some point. Now, whether that's on a punt return, an end around, a screen pass, or just a deep ball, Tyreek gets into the end zone. Martellus Bennett is horrendously bad, literally one of the worst tight ends in football and a horrible human being. DeMarco Murray, who you basically got for free for Jacquizz Rodgers. And I know I keep bringing this up, but for the love of God, one of the worst trades in the history of our league, even up Jacquizz Rodgers for DeMarco Murray. There may need to be a league investigation into this to see if some actual money changed hands in this situation here, because that was that bad of a heist. Thank God that allowed you to finally take the Crow out of your lineup. Jeez, man, it was getting rough to watch. But that being said, this matchup comes down to Thursday night. You need a minimum of 3 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers to win this matchup. I say he gets it. The winner is going to be Pack Attack. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I'm heading to Kansas City on Friday. And I will see you guys on Tuesday for the matchup recaps. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend, except Steve. I'm going to pummel you into the ground, and you suck. I will talk to you guys on Tuesday.